Morning, everyone. Welcome to New Hope. My name is Scott Sittig, and I serve as the lead pastor here at New Hope. Obviously, I am not with you this morning, and that is because I am presently, as you are listening to this, in Chicago, Illinois at the Olive Branch Mission. That is our chosen layover for a trip that we are on to Greenville, Illinois, to Greenville College, where we will spend the week with many of our youth at the National Bible Quizzing Finals Tournament. So I'm recording this for you on Wednesday afternoon of this week, and looking forward to getting out the door with our youth on Saturday morning. But wanted to have a chance to greet you and welcome you to New Hope. And again, it's just good to be with you even virtually. We do kick off a new sermon series this morning, and I wanted to make sure that I had a chance to introduce it for you. Let me introduce it with a quote by Reverend Emily M.D. Scott. She's a Lutheran pastor, and she was quoted recently in the New York Times in an article that she wrote titled "The Bible's Me Too Problem." In it, she is quoted as saying that an assumption is woven into our sacred texts that the experiences of women don't matter. Now, I don't want to take her out of context. She's really talking about in the article how there are so few references, or there's so little attention given to explaining the impact of violent, traumatic events as they relate to how women were treated in the Bible. So, for instance, she uses the story of Dinah and the rape of Dinah. Dinah was a daughter of Leah, one of Jacob's wives, and in the story, Dinah is forcibly raped. And the story goes on with one verse that just explains that she was raped. And then it moves on, and the story goes on to talk about the revenge that the brothers perpetrated and the story of getting revenge on this other nation. And it's a long, long story, but really she uses that as one of her cases in point, and there are several others, as to say, why does Dinah get so little treatment? Well, the reality is she makes a very compelling case. But the sentiment of her article is really what I think relates to the beginning of our new sermon series. She writes that article to say that too little effort, too little focus is given to women in the Bible and to their stories, and too much of the church just kind of glosses over, even today, what those stories look like. And that is why we are starting the Because of Her series. We're kicking that off today, and I'm excited for you to be a part of this series with us. We've been preparing now for a couple of months, and I think it's going to be a fun series. Basically, we're shining the spotlight on women in mostly the Old Testament, just to show how God uses women in the story of His redemption of humanity. He's very purposeful. Women are very pivotal in His story. They're not just side notes, and they're not just used by God because men weren't available. There are legitimate reasons that God chose women, and in fact, we don't even really understand the full character and nature of God without understanding men and women and all of our unique traits that go with that. So I'm really excited to share and start this new series. I think it will shine some light on some characters in the Bible and the character of God in a way that maybe we don't often always think about. Not devaluing the role of men, and I think there are significant stories and significant things we can learn from studying the men of the Bible, not diminishing that at all. Just highlighting for one summer, for one sermon series, at least for now, the role of women and how God used them in throughout Scripture. So what follows this video from me is a message that you will hear from Pastor Kate Nunnelly. She serves as the lead pastor at Wellspring Free Methodist Church in Bakersfield, California. And she was speaking to a group at Biola University, a plenary session of students and faculty. And she's making the case for women in leadership in the church. In fact, she started an entire project called the Junia Project. You can find that online at juniaproject.com. And she started it to bring scholarly research and really informed opinion to bear on the subject of women and leadership in the church. She's very compelling. She's very dynamic, personable, authentic, very engaging, and she brings her own story to bear as she tells you the story of how she has come to believe that women do belong in leadership within the context of the church. I'm not going to go on and on. There's more that I could say, but really I'm going to leave that to Kate this morning. What I will say to anybody in closing here is, while I'd love to be here with you, I can't be, obviously. If there's any of you here this morning that have different views from the Free Methodist Church on women and leadership in the church, I know Kate's presentation is going to be challenging to you. But it certainly is going to give you a good perspective on what the Free Methodist Church believes about women in leadership, going all the way back to the founder's perspective, B.T. Roberts, on ordaining women. You can read a book by that title by him. Some of this information may not be new to you, and it's certainly not new to our church, as I just referenced. It's not new to New Hope. But if it is new to you or it challenges you, please, let's get together and talk about it. Don't let what you hear today become a stumbling block in our relationship together, because there's a lot that we can learn and a lot we can grow from. Again, this stuff has existed. We're just shining a little bit of a spotlight on it this morning, using it as a foundation for this sermon series. So I look forward to hearing your feedback, and certainly I look forward to being back with you by God's grace next Sunday. And at least for this morning, I do pray that you've already been richly rewarded with good conversation, maybe catching up with somebody you haven't seen for a while, and building some more bridges between our stories. So keep it up this morning. God bless you all, miss you all, and by God's grace, we'll end up seeing you very soon. Thank you.